Welcome to the Psychic Traineeship. I'm your host, Gabrielle, better known as Gabs, and I'm a psychic medium, trance channeler, and psychic development teacher. And I help women all around the world reconnect to their divine, intuitive feminine and become certified psychics, Akashic record readers, and healers, all through my program called the Psychic Traineeship. So if you're ready to activate your inner psychic, you're in the right place. On this podcast, we're going to be talking about all things intuitive, psychics, mediums. We're going to be talking to special guests. We're going to be talking about astrology, numerology, human design, talking about what it's like to truly live a psychic life and how easy it gets to be. And how good it is when you're connected to your spirit team and how easy life flows. So if you're ready to quantum leap into your most intuitive selves, let's go. What are we waiting for? Let's dive in to this week's episode. Welcome back to the Psychic Traineeship. I'm your host, Gabrielle, and today is such a exciting podcast because I get to interview someone who is very important to me and someone who's deeply impacted my journey. Someone who taught me deeper spiritual philosophies than I ever knew and helped me embody them along the way. So I'm excited to share this guest with you because they have a whole lot of channeled wisdom and we've been on such a journey together.
Mm-hmm.
So today I want to introduce you to Kassie Sheaffe.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't met her before, we actually used to have a podcast together back in the day and it was called Psychic Sisters. Now, Kassie and I have evolved a lot since then, and this is kind of a catch-up episode, but also to get to hear her story of where she really quantum leaped on her journey and how life has changed since Psychic Sisters. And so much has changed since then, so we're excited to tell you.
Yeah.
So let's dive into today's episode. So I don't get them to know you. I don't want them to get to know you too fast.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask this question first.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
But let's jump right into something you emphasize often in your ebook, which I want everyone to go and read. But before that, happiness is a choice. And many people don't realize how they're blocking themselves from true happiness. How can someone start to recognize the blocks? And what are the best initial steps they can take to remove them?
Yeah, so as cliche as it sounds, happiness is a choice. Everything in life is a choice. And this was something that, because I came into my healing journey from a space of having been struggling with anxiety and depression, obviously trying to find happiness was something that I was really, really seeking. But I, like so many people, just assumed that it was something that I had to attain or work hard for or somehow achieve or maybe create or make something in my life to have that true happiness. But it's not like that. It is truly just a choice. And happiness within itself really is just an internal state. A lot of my teachings and the way in which I live my life and run my life is from my internal world. It is purely just how can I align my thoughts, my energies, my actions, and my intentions to be aligned with my divine self at any moment. That's going to bring me the most happiness, right? So for those of you who are potentially listening to this and you're like, what is she saying? Happiness is a choice. I don't really think that's legitimate. And so many people believe this. That within itself is actually the limiting belief that you need to address. And truly, it is really just as simple as that to start off with. So if you can first at least just address the part of you that is challenging me when I say happiness is a choice and that all you have to do is choose to be happy and to be in a frequency of happiness, then if you can challenge that, that is already going to allow you to really move through this and actually find happiness on the other side. A lot of it really just comes down to self-awareness. A lot of people don't have self-awareness. They don't know what they're really thinking about. And your thoughts create your reality. So if you don't know what you're truly thinking, you don't know what you're creating, and you're just reacting to life. So yeah, happiness is a choice.
I love this. I would love to understand how you learned this philosophy. What was your journey? Like, tell us a little bit of a backstory.
I mean, I have now been studying esoteric studies, different philosophies, different religions now since about 2018. So this is relatively new, in terms of I'm 30, so it's been the last like 6 years or so. So it's only been a small portion of my life, but as I've repetitively said to you, Gabs, like every time I seem to receive some type of like learning or teaching from someone, whether it's from a book or from a teacher or master that I've learnt with, it always feels like this remembering, right? And so this particular teaching, I couldn't tell you where I learned it from, because at some point I've obviously received this as a download or a teaching, and it's landed within me so firmly that I'm like, that is so true. I'm now going to challenge my beliefs to make that my truth. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
100%. And I guess the reason I asked that question was because you've had such a big transformation. Like, you've really gone from that anxiety and depression place. And when you tell your story, it's so empowering, because now you're in, and I get to witness it every single day. You're in this place of peace and happiness because you've every day chosen to wake up and choose again and again and again. And you've literally gone from that struggle, how do we figure this out? I don't think this is ever going to work, to this person fully embodying it. And I think it's just such an important message, and you're such a great teacher on this. So I really so glad we got to talk about this.
Thank you. Yeah.
So in your ebook, there's so much, like you cover so much about what is consciousness, what is the matrix, and just honestly, like, it's so hard to condense down because your concept is so big, but I really want to spend a bit of this episode talking about your views on the Matrix, because I know they're unlike a lot of other people's, and I think it's a really important conversation because I view your philosophy on this to be quite interesting and also quite healthy as just like a natural positive thought pattern. So
yeah,
I would love you to share it with the guests. This goes against a lot of people's grains, but I really invite you listeners to just like open up to this concept, because it absolutely revolutionized my way of seeing what the Matrix was.
Yeah, I think the Matrix is obviously something that is quite prevalent. The term is quite prevalent within the spiritual space, and I guess just society as a whole, whether it's just come from the Matrix movie or whatever. And something that has really stood out to me over the last few years as I've continued to really like study and understand reality more and more is that I never truly resonated with this conversation of like the Matrix was a place, or it was some type of like thing that you had to escape, and then everything would be like better after this. And so I sort of just started to really question that. And that's when spirit and all of its gloriness started to show me a few other people that were then introduced into my life who were speaking about the Matrix in a different sense, which I really resonated with a lot more. And that was really just that the Matrix is just a state of mind. It is a frequency. And so, yes, this is where I get to contradict myself. Yes, you could see that it is in an essence a place or a state, because I could also just say that the Matrix is a frequency that people live in versus those of us who live outside of it, where you live in a different frequency. So really, when people are talking about wanting to exit the Matrix, a really good way that I like to look at it now is you're really just trying to raise your frequency, raise your consciousness, so that you're no longer in that energetic frequency that is the Matrix. And the Matrix is just fear. It's just the fear programming that is governing or programming our society. That is what people mean when they say they want to exit the Matrix. I just really like this further explanation to be like, you're not trying to escape your 9 to 5. You're not trying to escape like your quote unquote normal life and exit the Matrix that way. That is not exiting the Matrix. If you're still living in a state of fear, even if you have your own business. If you're still living in a state of fear, you're scared because you don't have enough money, you're scared about, your health or paying your bills or friendships or whatever it is, if there's any level of like fear within your frequency, you're still in the matrix. The matrix is not something physical, it is something internal. So yeah, that's the matrix.
Hello, beautiful soul. I'm so excited to invite you to my upcoming free womb healing activation on September 18th. Yes, you've heard that right. It's completely free. And this is a powerful opportunity to reconnect to your inner feminine energy and release any past blockages that might be holding you back. This is a transformative session. We'll dive deep into the sacred space of our womb, our center for creativity, intuition, and feminine strength. Over time, our wombs can become full of emotional imprints and energy blockages that prevent us from fully stepping into our power. This womb healing activation is designed to help you release these blockages, rejuvenate your energy, and deepen your connection with your inner wisdom and feminine essence. Womb healing changed my life in so many profound ways. It allowed me to heal deep-seated wounds, reconnect to my creativity, and embrace my true feminine power. This healing opened doors to new levels of intuition and empowerment, transforming not just how I live my life, but how I showed up in the world. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing this with you for free. I want every woman to experience this deep, life-changing healing. Why should you attend? Because we're going to go through an emotional release. We're going to let go of past traumas and energetic imprints that no longer serve us. We're going to have creative awakenings by tapping into our innate creativity and inspiration. We're going to strengthen our intuition and enhance our connection to our inner guidance systems through remembering the power of our womb space. We're going to give energy renewal through my spirit team. They're going to send radiating energy with newfound strengths, and ultimately this is going to lead us to feminine reconnection. This is more than just a healing session. It's a journey back to yourself, to your true power and potential. Whether you're looking to heal, rejuvenate, or simply connect with your inner femininity, this activation is for you. So you don't want to miss this. So pull out your calendar right now and jump to the 18th of September. This activation will take place at 5:30 p.m. Bangkok time to around 7. There is a lot of time zones out there, and I know it's complicated, and I'm a psychic who travels the world. So I have created really easy for you. If you just jump onto my website and sign up for the free community, you're actually going to receive a link to the community. This means every single month in this community, you will receive emails and you will be able to save the community calendar, which tells you what free activations or what free masterclasses are coming. And I aim to drop a masterclass or an activation every single month for the next 12 months. So you're going to want to join this community because this isn't a once-off thing. This is a monthly gathering of like-minded souls from all over the world who listen and tune into this podcast. And this community is going to be full of juice. So jump to my website now and join this community. I'm going to see you there. But let's get back to this week's episode. I think it's so interesting because so often it's referred to as just like a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're literally saying you can actually be enlightened and go to work.
Yeah.
And actually make money.
This was a really big thing for me. Like, obviously, so I've just spent a couple of months in India, and I spent basically those 2 months studying and living closely with an enlightened master. And I really went into this experience with him, and I'd already sort of started to hear these challenging views on the matrix. And I was like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to live in the matrix. I want to get out of society, like whatever. And he was like, you can be enlightened and still play in the world and still be in the quote unquote matrix. So at that point, we were still looking at the matrix as being society. Because I think a lot of people start to fear when they start to raise their consciousness or, have these spiritual awakenings. One of the biggest things I get messages all the time from people is like, Kassie, I'm going through my spiritual awakening and I'm really scared about losing my friends. or losing my family. It's a really, really big thing. And it's like, you can go through this and still have the life that you have. It's just whether or not you're really going to want that. And that's something that you get to face later. That's a later problem for you.
Yeah, amen. So this is a huge awareness for so many people, I'm sure, because it was a huge awareness for me. But I guess when we know these teachings, when we have these downloads, or we have a bigger philosophy that we start to live into, what do you do when you want to embody them? Like, how do we start to bridge the gap between understanding something and living in it daily? How can we integrate these concepts? What would be the advice and tools you would give to any listener?
Yeah, this is like so important because I see so many people chasing after all of this knowledge. They want to work with all of these coaches, different teachers, or do all these different courses, get all the qualifications. And they think that by doing all these things, it's going to heal them, or it's going to give them the life that they want. They're going to be able to have everything that they desire. And so they fill themselves up, or they continue to run around in this state of lack because they don't feel like they have enough yet to be who they're meant to be. And when you really want to look at it, when you think about it in this way, you are one consciousness. You are whole as you are right now. And so I really want you to challenge this and just think of it like this. You have everything that you need already at your fingertips. And what I mean by this is, and I've heard a lot of other spiritual teachers talk about this, we have access to all of the knowledge that we need in our life. It's just whether or not we're truly willing to actually bring that into our life. And that's where the embodiment piece comes. So this is where it gets, right? Because so many people are walking around with so much knowledge and no actual wisdom. So the one thing that I always use an example, and a really great way to really challenge this and see if you are embodied in this, is the teaching of you are the creator of your reality. This is something that I wholeheartedly embody. This is something that I feel is like deep wisdom within my soul. Because when I learned this, it was just knowledge for me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to use this piece of knowledge and I'm going to embody it. Everything I do is going to be with this belief of I am the creator of my reality and I can have anything that I desire, and that is going to underpin everything that I do. And so that knowledge slowly seeped into my being until it became wisdom, and that became my truth. So I act in a way every day that I am the creator of my reality. So the difference between me being embodied in it and just knowing it is that if you think that you can just manifest anything that you want and that you're the creator, but you don't truly believe that, then you just have the knowledge. But I'm delusional. I know I'm the creator of this reality. Like, I know I'm the one calling the shots. That is wisdom. That is true embodiment of teachings that you receive. If you can't truly say that you fully believe it and there are no limiting beliefs that say that that teaching or truth isn't true for you, then it's just knowledge. That is the difference.
And knowledge can be heavy.
Heavy, so heavy. So I've received some teachings in my time that have so deeply contradicted my previous or current beliefs that you have to sit and you do have to integrate it. You do have to almost allow that teaching and that truth to seep in and become a part of you. And that's where the embodiment of the wisdom comes. Because again, like I always like to use this example. Do you truly, truly believe that you are the creator of your reality? Or do you still think that someone else is calling the shots? Do you still think that you're the victim? If you can't claim 100%, accountability for your life.
Conviction.
Yeah, no, accountability for your life, and you don't believe that you're the creator. You think someone else is calling the shots, and you are not embodied in that truth. You're leaving cards on the table and you're not going all in.
Yeah, and honestly, it's so simple to say, isn't it?
It's so simple, and I think this is where a lot of people get stuck because, like, and I hear it all the time. I'm like, yeah, like, do you actually truly believe that? Do you embody that truth? Like, for you, I'm sure you say to people all the time, like, you're a psychic, you're intuitive, and they're like, yeah, I know. And it's like, but what did you do today that actually showed that you embodied your life as a psychic?
Yeah, and I think that's really that sentence just there. It's like, did you actually choose to wake up and just be with what you are?
Yeah. Like, our morning practice, like, of like 4:30 a.m. wake ups, meditation for like an hour or more, like, that is us embodying the knowledge that we have that we have received. That is us embodying who we are, the psychics, and whatever else.
Yeah. And I think so often people want too much from one thing. Like, they're like, I'm going to go and integrate how to be completely peaceful straight away. And it's like, actually, can we just integrate that into our life for 5 minutes? Like, I remember when I used to set a timer to close my eyes for 5 minutes, and it was a physical challenge. Like, it was so hard. Like, I just wanted to open them and see what's in here. And it, like, when you realize that's integration, where it's actually just training the muscle to do the opposite of what you want it to do now, you realize that healing is actually just as simple as when you healed going to the gym.
Yeah, and it really does feel like that transmutation of that energy buildup of resistance.
Yeah.
Right? Like, where you feel it when you receive that knowledge, that teaching, that message, and you feel that uncomfortable feeling or that resistance or whatever that is key right there, that there's something really, really important for you to look at.
Amen. But learning to be able to hold the uncomfortableness is the whole part of the journey. Like, if you can go and find, I know that you do inner alchemy work, which is heavily linked to shadow work, but if you can go and find a master who's really good at sitting in their own shit, like Kassie is, she'll just like sit outside and just be in her shit all day. Like, if something's coming up, she will sit outside and cry on the balcony. Is it okay that I
Yeah, that's fine.
And it's just the most beautiful thing, because it's like, she just deals with it in a moment. She doesn't let it rot or fester, or she doesn't let it move through. And I think everything we've just talked about is really underpinning one of the biggest teachings of this podcast. It's like, the reason we're not intuitive is because we just have a shadow towards it.
100%. Because being intuitive is being slow.
Can you explain this much further?
Being intuitive is just being slow. Being intuitive is our natural state. And the only way to truly actually hear our intuition is to be in a regulated, slow state. Because you think about it, right? There's two ways I want to address this. Let's look at the love versus fear point for a second. When you're in a state of fear, which obviously when you're in the matrix or just running around in a chaotic life, you're in a state of fear, you're going to be operating at a frequency that is going to be a lot harder to reach higher states of frequency or consciousness to receive messages from spirit. Also, you're just going to be projecting through your own lens of fear. And then the sort of like, obviously, like flip side to this being love. When you're obviously able to come from a space of love, that's where your intuition is going to be coming from. You're going to be more connected to that space. You have to be slow for that. Because again, it just comes down to what frequency. I talk about this a lot in my ebook. I'm like, if you just can allow yourself to slow down and regulate yourself enough that you just don't react as much, you're going to find yourself consciously actually moving through your life. That's the goal.
Yeah, but it goes against really what society stands for, which right now, which is the matrix, which is, how do I keep busy? How do I not sit down? I don't want to take up your time if I'm in a bad mood. I'd rather tell you I'm good.
Yes.
I would rather keep the hidden context inside of the truth and just give you whatever gets this to move faster.
Yeah. And I think that's why I've spent so much of my life the last couple of years just like really, really slowing down, because I was like, I could see, I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, I used to be a bank manager. So I've come into working for myself, being a meditation master and witch, now for 5 years. I've come into this space from a highly logical, masculine, very forceful energy. And I was seeing life as a woman in her like early mid-20s and thinking to myself, the way in which our society is running is not cohesive. It's not something that is really actually bringing joy. I worked with all of these, all of the other managers were all quite a bit older than me, and they just drank all the time. And I was like, this is not how I want my life to be. So I realized that the matrix and what that is, I wanted out. And I wanted to slow down because I could see that all they were trying to do was that push. And I was like, well, I want the opposite of that, because that's surely going to bring me true love and happiness, because that definitely wasn't going to.
Hey, beautiful souls. I just wanted to remind you that I have a free community where each month I run a free activation or masterclass. So if you love these podcasts, make sure that you're actually coming to these free live sessions hosted on Zoom, because anyone from all over the world can attend or catch the replay. So the next one is happening on October 16th, and I'm holding a free third eye activation. And it's completely free, and it's all about awakening your psychic gifts and tuning in to your highest self. This transformation session will dive deep into the power of your third eye as the gateway to your intuition. It's going to give you clarity and inner knowing. Over time, life can cloud our third eye with doubts, fears, and blockages, preventing us from truly accessing our psychic potential. This activation is designed to clear those blockages and empower you to connect to your intuitive wisdom like never before. Activating your third eye completely changed how I see the world. It opened me up to new levels of awareness and psychic abilities I didn't even know I had. I'm passionate about guiding others through this activation because I believe we all have the potential to awaken our gifts and step into our power. If you are wanting any of the following, you should join this activation. Intuitive clarity, you want to awaken your psychic gifts. You want to energetically align your third eye. You want heightened awareness in your intuition. And ultimately, you want to feel empowered about intuition. This is more than just an activation. This is an opportunity to step into your potential as a psychic being. Whether you're just beginning to explore your intuition or you're already deep into your spiritual practice, this activation is for you. Don't miss this powerful opportunity. Mark your calendars for October 16th. Let's awaken your psychic gifts together. This session will be held at 5:30 p.m. on Bangkok time. So I know times can be confusing, so if you head to my website, www.gabriellebentley.com, and you hit the community button, you can sign up to be part of this community each month, and in there you're going to find a beautiful add event link. This is going to time convert all of these free events into your calendar so you know what's coming up and what you can catch the replay of. So simply jump to my website now, and I really hope I get to see you for this live activation. How is it like going against the status quo?
You know, I feel like I really didn't have a lot of fears around this, surprisingly, truly just because at the time I was in such a high frequency when I was like building my business, when I was still working at the bank. And just because I was counteracting it from such a low state, I feel like a lot of the people around me, like I have what do you call those blinders on, you know, like a horse. And I was just going because I knew that I couldn't live the next 70 years of my life in that frequency. And it really came down to that. It was a frequency for me I had to get out of.
I want to bring something up. We actually spoke 3 or 4 days ago.
Yes.
And you pretty much brought up to me that, and it's something I've known too, but the quickest way to a higher frequency, we were like having a discussion, and I think we ended on, is just to keep making yourself happy.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, there is a cheat code to reality.
There is.
And that's really all it is.
This is my cheat code. And it's controversial because it is just that you are your number one priority. And I really want to break this down to you, for you guys, and just explain to you why I have this belief. You are me. I am you. Gabs and I are the same. We are all here. We are one consciousness experiencing this reality. Okay. That is the truth that I believe with my whole entire being. And so when I understood this concept, I was like, okay, if I'm just me here fucking around on earth, having a good time, that means that everyone I interact with is also me. I also started to realize that everyone's just here trying to do their own thing. And I realized that a lot of the pain and trauma within our society was usually either caused by someone who had harm done to them. So they were just retaliating. I'm not saying that was a good way, but that's an observation. Or again, people just acting out of space of fear for some type of love. And I was like, or because they've done something for someone else. And I just realized that a lot of the pain in our society is because no one feels that they can put themselves first. And that if we're all actually just here being and expressing and doing what this expression of one consciousness desires to do, that we would all be happy, because all we're doing here within this human experience is we're just here to have fun, enjoy ourselves, and experience life, experience what it is to be here. And any pain that's being caused is because we're trying to go against that. So I always say, put yourself first, because if we put ourselves first, and if all of us put ourselves first instead of bending over backwards to put others in front of us and then being resentful towards it, the world would end up being a happier, more joyful place. That is my underpinning thing. Numero uno, put yourself first.
I love that. I think it's so important, and I think so often we forget, like, it gets to be so easy. Life gets to be easy. We're not here for a purpose. We didn't come here to have a career. We came here, yeah, sure, to learn things, but those things don't even have to be through a career, but we perceive they do because it's the only lens we have of society.
So true.
Or just being a mother. Like, there's so many boxes out there. There's unlimited boxes out there for things you could go and experience. So put yourself first, guys. So that's really wrapping up today's episode. So I want to ask you 3 quick rapid fire questions. So what do you consider your biggest core value, and how does it guide you in your spiritual journey?
Well, I would say my core value, my number one value, is definitely freedom. And I think when it comes to my spiritual journey, it's just because my whole entire life is my spiritual journey, really. It's just about freedom from ever feeling, trapped in anything. Like, I want to be free to move and express and live and be as my soul, as my, expression of one consciousness desires. So yeah, freedom's a big one.
Love that. So what is your favorite book, and has that book had the most profound impact on you? So I want the book with the most profound impact that's had on your life.
Wow, so many. I'm going to say the Sophia Code. The Sophia Code is full of beautiful activations from different goddesses. And at the time when I read this in 2021, shortly after ending my marriage, the activations within that book completely up-leveled my life. Like, I could feel my entire being changing at the time. And at the time, I think it was definitely like a very big spiritual awakening. And I think it just really activated further goddess witchy kind of energy in me. And it's still a book that I recommend to people all the time. You include it.
Got to read that one.
Yeah.
So we might download that after this.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the one spiritual truth or concept you wish you had understood earlier in your journey of existence? In this incarnation.
I was going to say in this incarnation.
Got to be very clear here.
Yeah. Yeah. I really struggled a lot within my early to mid 20s with anxiety and stuff. And I just wish at that point in my life, I just knew that it didn't matter, that nothing mattered, that nothing was real, that we're all just, fucking around trying to have a good time. I wish that I didn't feel the pressure of the matrix, and I understood that everything would always work out. There might be something better, and I just didn't take everything so seriously.
And if it didn't work out, it's just based on our own belief systems. Like, we're always the creator.
Yeah.
Even if we're in a shit situation.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. So I just want to thank everyone who listened in today. And before we wrap up this week's episode, I really would love to ask you, Kassie, where can everyone find way more info about you? Can we have your website, your social media, your ebook?
All the things.
All the things.
Yeah, amazing. Well, yeah, so my website is KassieSheaffe.com. I was about to give my email address then, everyone. So sorry. That'll be down the bottom. I'm not going to try and spell it out for you guys. And my Instagram is the Kassie Sheaffe, and so is my TikTok. So you guys can connect with me there. All of my offerings and stuff, I'm sure, will be in the show notes. If you want my ebook, it's called Raising Your Consciousness. It's a really good place to just start to dive into some of the concepts that I shared with you guys today, because they can be deep, but it's really good to just start to marinate. And remember, take that knowledge and start to embody some of that wisdom, which is what your Galcast is all about. So yeah, that's where to find me.
Yeah, and the ebook is just full of so much knowledge. I highly recommend. It's a great read. I hope some of these teachings and philosophies from Kassie really resonates with you, because she's been such a big expander for me. She's changed so many belief systems by just simply being herself. And the biggest code she's transmuted to me has been how fun and how easy life really gets to be. So I hope you got to pick up that code. I hope you choose to embody that. I hope you remember that without what the society has given you as labels, you are divine, you are perfect, you are whole. So if this episode resonates with you, please share it with someone who might benefit. And as always, stay connected to your truth and your intuition. Until next time, this is the Psychic Traineeship. Hey, gorgeous soul. I just wanted to take a moment and say a heartfelt thank you for tuning into this podcast. Your energy and your presence, it means the world to me. If you've been enjoying these podcasts, I have a small favor to ask, and it only takes a few minutes, but it makes a huge difference. If you would leave a review or share your thoughts, it would help us find our tribe and continue spreading this beautiful, empowering work. Your feedback helps more like-minded souls discover our community, and it inspires me to keep creating content that resonates deeply with you. So if you're feeling the love, please hit that review button. Let's grow this community together, continue to uplift, inspire, and transform. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of this journey with me. I can't wait to connect with you again in the next episode. But until then, I want to remind you there is a community here. If you jump to my website, join our community, come to the free monthly activations or masterclasses. And don't forget, in the community hub, there is a question and answers channel. And if you've ever wanted a podcast on a specific thing, or you've wanted to drop a question, go drop it in there. I want to make this podcast specifically for you. I want you to learn what you want to know, and I want you to become the best psychic you can be. and I'm just along for the journey. So go drop your questions, and I'm going to see you next week.